Students, today's chapter is matter around us pure. So let's begin with our chapter. Students, this is the first slide and the topic is concentration of a solution. At any particular temperature, a solution that has dissolved as much as solute as it is capable of dissolving it is said to be as the saturated solution. So what is saturated solution, students? So at the particular temperature, किसी भी एक particular temperature पर अगर solution उतना ही डिज़ोल्व होता है जितना कि हमारा सल्यूट डिज़ोल्व होगा और उसकी डिज़ोल्विंग कैपेसिटी सल्यूट एंड सॉल्वेंट की सेम होगी, तो दैट विल बी कॉल्ड एज द सैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन. In other words, when no more solute can be dissolved in a solution at the given temperature, it is called as saturated solution. If we talk in other words, then it is called as that. अगर हम किसी भी solution में और ज़्यादा solute या किसी भी solute में और ज़्यादा solution add नहीं कर पाएंगे at the given particular temperature, then it will be called as the saturated solution. If a saturated solution at a particular temperature is heated to a higher temperature, then it becomes unsaturated. एक अगर saturated solution एक particular temperature पर अगर high heat पे उसको temperature दिया जाए, उसको heat किया जाए, तो वो unsaturated solution में convert हो जाएगा. If the amount of solute contained in a solution is less than the saturation level, अगर solute का अमाउंट सॉल्यूशन में सैचुरेशन लेवल से कम होगा, देन इट विल बी कॉल्ड एज दैन अनसैचुरेटेड सॉल्यूशन. Let's move to the next point. The concentration of a solution is the amount of solute present in a given quantity of the solution. किसी भी solution में the concentration of a solution is the amount of solute present in that particular solution. The amount of solute dissolved in a given mass or volume of a solvent, we can calculate it by the following given formula. That is, concentration of a solution is equal to amount of solute upon amount of solution, or we can call it as the amount of solute upon amount of solvent. So and what is the solubility? The maximum amount of a solute which can be dissolved in 100 grams of a solvent at a specified temperature is known as the solubility of that solute in that solvent at that particular temperature. क्या solubility क्या होती है? The maximum amount of solute, जो भी सबसे ज़्यादा maximum amount solute का present होता है किसी भी 100 ग्राम के solvent में एक specific temperature पे, वो उस solute की solubility कहलाता है उस solvent में at the particular given temperature. Students, in this slide we will take a problem. The problem is a solution contains 40 gram of common salt in 320 gram of water. Calculate the concentration in terms of mass by mass percentage of the solution. So we have to find out the mass by mass percentage of the solution, that is the concentration. So we will select the, first of all we will select the mass of solute is equal to 40 gram. Mass of solvent, that is water, is equal to 320 gram. Now we will put the formula. Also mass of solution is equal to mass of solute plus mass of solvent is equal to 40 gram plus 320 gram is equal to 360 gram is equal to, then the mass of solute upon mass of solution will be whole divided by 100. The answer is 40 upon 360 multiply 100 and you will get the concentration in terms of mass by mass percentage of the solution, that is 11.1%. In this slide we will discuss about what is a suspension. So students, suspension is the heterogeneous mixture of two or more substances. It is a mixture that contains two or more than two substances. In suspension, particles are suspended throughout in bulk. In suspension the particles are suspended thoroughly in the bulk and can be seen, and we can see it by our naked eyes, that they do not need microscope. In suspensions, particles of solute do not dissolve, rather than they are suspended. In suspensions में particles solute होने के बजाय वो dissolve होते हैं और ना कि suspend होते हैं. Particles of suspension are large enough to scatter rays of light. सस्पेंशन के पार्टिकल्स इतने बड़े होते हैं कि वो लाइट को स्कैटर कर सकें, लाइट रेज को स्कैटर कर सकें. उनकी रेज जो होती हैं वो स्कैटरिंग होती हैं. एंड पाथ ऑफ रे इज विजिबल थ्रू अ सस्पेंशन, एंड द path of ray is also visible through a suspension. If we discuss about the example of suspension, the examples are mixture of chalk and water, muddy water, mixture of flour and water, mixture of dust particles and air, fog, milk of magnesia, etc. Students, in this slide we will discuss about the properties of a solution. The first point is the suspensions are heterogeneous mixture of two or more substances. Particles of solute do not dissolve in solvent, rather they remain suspended in bulk throughout. The size of particles of suspension is large enough to be visible from our naked eyes. They are greater than 1 nanometer, that is 10 is to minus 9 meter. The length of these particles is 1 nanometer, that is 10 to power minus 9 meter. Suspension shows Tindal effect because of their large size of particles. Suspension shows also Tindal effect, that is underlined. You can see it clearly. Because of their large size of particles, they show the Tindal effect. When suspension is left for some time, particles get settled in bottom. अगर सस्पेंशन को हम थोड़ी देर के लिए अनटस्ट छोड़ दें तो वो सेटल हो जाते हैं बॉटम लाइन पे. Therefore, suspension is not stable. They are hence unstable. The particles of suspension can be separated through a process of filtration. Through the process of filtration, these particles of suspension can be separated. Suspension does not scatter light when particles are settled. Suspension, they do not scatter their their particles when there is a suspension, because in this case suspension will be breakdown. This slide will well describe about the Tindal effect. So the students, you can clearly see the picture that will describe you about the Tindal effect. The scattering of visible light by colloidal particles is called the Tindal effect. So students, next slide is what is a colloidal solution? Colloidal solution is a heterogeneous mixture of two or more substances. It is also a heterogeneous mixture that consists of two or more than two substances. Colloidal solutions appear homogeneous. कभी कभी ये homogeneous mixtures भी होते हैं because of relatively small size of particles. When the size of the particles is small, then they are sometimes homogeneous also in comparison with suspension. Suspensions are always heterogeneous, and colloidal solution can be heterogeneous and sometimes they are homogeneous also. Particles of colloidal solutions are called colloid. They are called as colloid. Colloids are dispersed throughout the solvent. They are dispersely arranged throughout the solvent. The particles of colloidal solutions are not visible through naked eyes as suspension we can see with our naked eyes, but the colloidal solutions we cannot see through our naked eyes, but they scatter the ray of light, and they also show the Tyndall effect. Colloidals cannot be separated by filtration. We cannot separate it whether through the process of filtration, but sometimes they can be separated using centrifugation. Milk, ink, blood, solution of soap or detergent, etc. are some common examples of colloidal solution. In this slide, we will discuss about the properties of a colloidal solution. The first point, colloidal solutions are heterogeneous mixture of two or more than two substances. Colloidal solutions sometimes appear homogeneous also. The size of colloids is between the size of particles of solution and suspension. What is the size of colloids? It is the size of particles between solution and suspension. That is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers, and they can extend from 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer also. Colloids cannot be seen even using optical microscope. And by using optical microscope also we cannot see colloids clearly. Colloids show Tyndall effect. They also show Tyndall effect, that is they scatter the ray of visible light. Colloidal solutions may be opaque. They can sometimes opaque, translucent, or of the very light in color. Thank you, students. Good day to all of you.